Sometimes a perfect photography day can turn in your worst nightmare if you don't have a clean lens or sensor. Even if you try to clean the sensor with the integrated cleaning image sensor function of your camera, there is a chance that the sensor don't get perfectly clean, or even that the dust is in the lens. So the only solution is to do a hard work. You can take a picture to a white wall with the closest aperture you can, use a slow shutter speed, and move the camera meanwhile you're taking the picture. Otherwise, for any picture you have already took, you can increase the haze removal and all the spots will appear in the image. Which products I use to do this? Specific optic anti-graze gloves, a microfiber cloth, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, some wet tissues, these classic tissues you use for glasses or lens, a silk cloth, and classic air blower, and an ultra soft sensor brush. Of course, you will need a sensor cleaning kit. In this case, I use any brand and for a full frame camera. The first step is to clean all the outside of the camera. I will do this with the microfiber cloth, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and make sure that the whole outside of the camera is absolutely free of dust. If you have a zoom, extend it and clean the inside too. We don't want to expose the sensor and that the dust from the camera gets in the sensor. So make sure that the camera is absolutely clean outside.
They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget.
The next step is to check all the first parts that could have to be dust that appears in our image. For example, the viewfinder. I clean the viewfinder with these wet tissues, inside, outside, and surrounding it. Of course, the eye cap too. We don't want to put it again with dust and get dirt in our viewfinder again. Then I clean the front lens. In this case, I have a UV filter in the front. Use the air blower always upside down. Then with the brush and with these wet tissues to remove all the grays that can be in your lens. And with the silk cloth, the final cleaning. Remove the filter or protection glass if you have one, and do the same steps with the front lens. Of course, make sure to clean the inside of your UV filter or protection lens.
I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine. I'm not wasting.
Once we have made this, make sure that the lens cap is clean already, so we can cover the lens without any risk to get dust again. Now we're ready for the second step, and that is to clean the rear lens. The first is to clean the sensor cap, because I will remove the lens and don't want to get any dust from the cap into my sensor. For the rear lens, I start just like I did it in the front part. Of course, with the air blower first, always upside down. After this, the sensor brush, and with a wet tissue, I clean all the contact surfaces to the camera. I finish with the silk cloth, and the rear lens will be ready. Before I put the cap, I clean the cap tool. Now it's time for the sensor. We are sure that the camera is absolutely clean of dust. We don't want to open, expose the sensor, and that any dust from the camera will go in our sensor. The first is I use this cleaning kit, no specific brand, just take care to use one with good reviews. In this case I bought this on Amazon. I leave you all the links of the products I use. They have worked very well for me. The first step I always do is to check the sensor if I don't see any scratches and to know that it is absolutely in good and perfect condition. Then I start with the air blower. Remember, always do it upside down so that the dust can fall down. After this I use the brush to lose any dust and use the blower again. Of course I work with these wet tissues and clean absolutely all the contact surfaces. You have to take a lot of care to not touch the sensor, so be very careful in this. Now I use this full frame cleaning step with about 2 drops per side. And with an angle of 45 degrees and a pressure of about 80 to 100 grams, I go on one way to one side without taking the step off, turn to the other side and go back. And that will be all. And the sensor is perfectly clean. It can be necessary that you have to do these steps twice. Always use a new step. These steps are one-use pieces. Now the sensor and the whole camera with its lens should be absolutely clean. And so, now to finish, let's assemble the lens to the camera and we are ready for another day of photography without any dust spot in our images. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more tips and tricks. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Bye bye.